5 red flags in men you should never ignore.
Hey besties, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking. Kindly subscribe to this beautiful channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the biggest red flags in relationship. Okay, so I've put the videos together so that you watch and learn, and I'll be back to share my truths.
5 red flags in men you should never ignore. Never. There are always red flags in the beginning. Literally always. So I'm going to put you on. Please take notes. First and foremost is if he talks about his ex. Having a little conversation here and there. Maybe you guys are just sharing experiences. Not great, but whatever. Here's where the red flag comes in. If he is talking about his ex in a bad way, saying how awful she was, putting her down, over the top, talking bad about her, why won't he shut up about how awful she was? Is she awful because of something he did to her? The answer is yes. Next one is if he knows too many girls. Also follows so many girls on social media. Biggest red flag is if you go to his comment section and it's just all girls commenting. No, get him out of here. Absolutely not. The next one is he makes plans with you last minute, or he only hits you up at night. Typical F-boy, they really don't want a relationship. They just want a good time. They're not looking for anything long-term. On the other direction. Not responding to any hey you up text. No. It's giving minimal effort. No, he needs to work for you and actually act like a man and not just a boy who just wants to hang out at his house. I'm not doing that. If you always have to question what you guys are, how he's feeling about you, trust me, when a guy sees what he wants, he will get it. If you find yourself caught up on a guy that does any of these things, honestly, just run the other direction and find another one. Trust me, what one guy won't do, 20 others will. And that's just a fact. Let me know what you think. Bye.
A common toxic relationship red flag every person looking for a healthy relationship should know. Doesn't matter your age, gender, status, sexual preference. Tell your mother, father, sister, brother. Because while it doesn't happen in every toxic relationship, it's one of the most common and usually happens in the first 6 to 9 months. And because you've never experienced this, you might not recognize it at first. The type of toxic partner to do this is insecure, jealous, and controlling. They fear your independence from them and want to break down your confidence because that's how small they feel inside. When you first meet them, they'll express admiration for you and you'll feel a deep, soulful connection. And then they'll rage over something really small. You'll be like, what? You almost can't believe it. Because of your connection, you'll try to talk it out. You want resolution and to get back to good ground. But they do not want to understand you, nor resolve things. They want to control you. If they're jealous, you will make small adjustments at first to make them more comfortable, but over time, you'll cut off important relationships, change the way you dress and who you talk to, even business relationships. If your partner goes into a rage, you must understand the severity of this red flag. People who do this are adept at breaking you down, getting you to question yourself, and exerting control. At first, they'll return to the person you fell in love with, but in time, the rages will get more frequent, space between them smaller until that space disappears, and what you're left with is bad moods, tantrums, and insults. You'll never see the person you originally fell in love with again, unless they want something from you.
What red flags should I look for in a man? One of the biggest red flags in a man, leaving hard eye comments on girls' Instagrams. I'm sorry, absolutely not. It is a red flag if a man is always complaining that his ex was the problem. 9 times out of 10, he was the problem. If a man is comparing you constantly to his ex, positive or negative, if he says, oh, my ex always did that, I can't believe you're doing that. My ex never did that. Why are you doing that? It is a red flag if a man is constantly making misogynistic jokes, because that's how he actually feels about it.
Most truths are said in jest. You believe some of it.
If a man is hiding his phone password from you, that is a red flag. Do not let him tell you that he needs his privacy and everyone deserves their privacy. That's not about privacy, that's about secrecy. It is a red flag if a guy is always telling you that you're jealous and insecure. If you genuinely know that he is just doing things to make you feel that way, major red flag. Huge sign of a gaslighter. They like to use words that have a negative connotation to make you feel like you're probably wrong. Because technically, yes, he can say that. You're having feelings of jealousy for legitimate reasons.
Red flags for my last relationship that I didn't think were red flags, but actually were. The first red flag that I will speak on is definitely love bombing. In the beginning of him and I, like, he called me and texted me on a daily basis, which I did not think was a strange thing. However, when he would text me, they would be like these long paragraphs of how beautiful I was and how he could see a future with me. And, you know, very lovey-dovey type of things, very romantic. And one of the best examples that I have is one morning I remember I was on my way to my friend's house. Right before I left, he had called me, and my friend's house is a good 20-minute drive. That whole drive, and he was talking about how much he's starting to care about me, how he could see a future with me, how beautiful I was. Like that whole drive, I didn't get one word in. I remember thinking to myself, wow, like this is a lot. But also I was thinking to myself, here is a man that knows exactly what he wants and he's going after it, so how could I fault him? When in fact, this man was love bombing me. The second red flag that I will speak on is just excuses he would make. And the best example I have of excuses, after we got engaged, which was in 2019, remember him saying to me, we'll get married whenever you want. We've been waiting a long time for this, so we can get married whenever you choose. Now for context, I did not want something big. I was interested in doing something very small. His friends were trying to convince him we should do something in Dubai, and I had said, let's do something intimate with you and I, and then we can do something big later. So as I'm looking at dates, I find something, we have a conversation, he tells me that date will work. So I make the necessary arrangements, and I want to say about a month before, somebody in his family had gotten sick. Now I'm not talking regular sick. This man was saying that one of his family members had cancer. So of course things came to a halt. So we get through that, and now he's like, okay, we can plan again, you can choose the date. So of course, I choose another date, we move forward. A month before that, somebody else in the family gets sick. And as he's telling me like these people are getting sick, honestly, I'm not questioning. And yes, I am believing him, because who lies about having cancer? Like, that is a sick, twisted lie. But this man literally lied about people in his family having cancer. Like, who does that? I'll do a part 2 so I could talk about the other red.
So that's the video, guys. So I'm just here also to share my true sense, like what I think about today's video. Okay, so what are the biggest red flags in relationship? So I know that we all curious to know about these things, okay, because it can save us a lot of headache. And today I'll be going over some key red flags that you should never ignore. So let's get into it. So these are warning signs or behaviors that indicate potential problems in relationship. They can be there at first, but often becomes bigger issues down the line. The key is to trust your gut feeling. If something feels off, don't ignore it, guys. So the first red flag, what I'm going to talk about, is lack of respect for boundaries. If your partner constantly pushes past your boundaries or dismisses them, that's a serious red flag, guys. Don't ignore such. Okay, it's whether it's about personal space, time with friends, or physical boundaries. A healthy partner should respect them. Okay, boundaries are about respecting each other's individuality, and a partner who ignores them may not respect you fully. There's also constant criticism. Criticism in relationship should be a constructive, not constant. If your partner frequently criticizes your appearance, your choices, or anything about you, it can take a toll on your self-esteem. A healthy relationship build each other up rather than tear each other. So the another thing is manipulation and gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone tries to make you doubt your own perception reality. They might say that, yeah, it never happened, or you are too sensitive. This can lead to questioning yourself constantly. A good partner should make you feel more certain about who you are, not less. So there's also jealousy and possessiveness. Jealousy is normal to an extent, but when it turns to possessiveness or control, that's problematic. If they constantly check on your phone, monitoring who you are with, or making you feel guilty for spending time with others, this is controlling behavior. So you have to avoid, or there's also avoidance of difficult conversation in healthy relationship. Both partners should be able to have difficult conversation. If your partner shuts down every time you try to talk about something serious, or they refuse to communicate when problems arises, they might be avoiding conflict at the expense of solving real issues. Relationship grows through open communication, not avoidance. So there is also disrespecting other people. How does your partner treat others, family members, or even strangers? Disrespectfulness behavior toward others can reveal a lot about their character. Often, this is lack of respect will eventually come out in the treatment of you too. Just keep in mind. Lack of empathy. If they don't seem to care about your feelings or can't put themselves in your shoes, that's a red flag. Empathy is essential in a healthy relationship because it allows partners to support each other emotionally. Without empathy, relationship lack depth and understanding. Okay, so there's also inconsistency in our ability. They're constantly saying one thing and doing another, or if you can't count on them to keep their word, that's a sign of inability. Trust is built on consistency and dependability. So if your partner is flaky or doesn't follow through, it can lead to trust issues over. So there's also control and manipulation, guys. Isolation from friends and family members. If your partner tries to isolate you from loved ones, that's a major red flag. They might say things like, "You don't need anyone but me," or "Your friends don't really care about you." Healthy partners encourage connections with friends and family instead of trying to isolate you. There is also excessive mood swings. Everyone has good and bad days, we know, but extreme and unpredictable mood swings can be emotionally exhausting for you as a partner. If you're constantly walking on an eggshell because you never know how they react, it can lead to a toxic dynamic. Why this red flag? So, why do you need to recognize these red flags? Because ignoring them can lead to emotional or even physical harm. By spotting these signs early, we are not only protecting ourselves but also giving ourselves a chance to seek healthy relationship. Relationships should be built on trust, respect, and support. If anything of these red flags that resonate with you, take a step back and evaluate your relationship. Sometimes a tough conversation can resolve things, but other times this behavior point to deep issues that may not be flexible. Remember, it's okay to put yourself first and walk away if it's necessary. So again, another red flag is if you're trying to communicate to someone, you call them and they're not picking up the calls. A normal and in a healthy relationship, your partner is going to call you like, "Okay, babe, I'm busy, I'll call you back." Or if you there was in a meeting, they'll follow up and say, "Oh, I was in the meeting, so this is like this." Yeah. So another red flag that I want to also to mention to you is introduction. They don't want to introduce you to his family or friends. Okay. So if someone loves you and know a man who loves you want to introduce you to his world, you want to show the whole world that you are his. Okay. So if someone is trying, you go to the mall and you meet his friends, you're failing. If they're failing to introduce you, you're introduced as a friend. No, I'm not ready to introduce you now. Those all those excuses. Then you have to think twice. Yes, think twice. Okay. Another red flag that I want to talk about is abuse. Okay. Someone beats you in a relationship. They raise their hands and beat you. That's the biggest red flag. Don't tolerate such, because we've seen people, they end up being abused so badly, or they end up being killed. Okay, so you have to be very careful. So in a healthy relationship, there's communication, communication, there's respect, there's love, they have their own ups and downs, but they know how to solve them. There's care, there's support, there's physical, financial, and emotional support there. Yeah, so this is what these are the red flags. So always pay attention to these red flags. Okay, so if you found yourself in such situations, always think twice. Okay, so that you go on or you back off if these people, they don't change, because they are just going to drain your energy. So thank you so much for watching. Bye bye, I'll see you in the next episode.